Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Cardoodle. This is Jim. It's Tuesday, November 25th, 2014. As you can probably tell by the audio quality of this episode, I'm still on the search for a decent recording microphone. If you have a suggestion of a good microphone at about $100 or less, yes, I know that's really stretching it, but that's what I can do right now. Please leave a comment, and I really appreciate it. Let's start out by answering a question that I got asked in the last video, and that was, how did I get used to using Anime Studio? To tell the truth, in a lot of ways, I'm still not used to it. I'm of the opinion that pretty much everything that you do is practice for the next thing that you do. But as for how I learned how to use the program, I'm mostly self-taught. Whenever you're learning a new skill, there's a lot of work that goes in that's not necessarily fun. At the time I first got the program, I wasn't working a whole lot. I just started a new job, and it was part-time hours, so it was really, 15 hours a week or so. And so Anime Studio 8 was the cheapest thing I could get at the time. I'm now on 9.5, by the way. So I had a lot of free time on my hands, and I basically went through every single page of the manual and tried to replicate whatever was demonstrated. While it's not necessarily a big feat to read several hundred pages, it's not like reading Harry Potter or something like that. It's a manual. It's kind of tedious to read sometimes, so it's slow going. And that's something I've had to learn in the past couple of years. When I was a lot younger, I was always looking for like a shortcut or some kind of trick where I could get a program or something to do most of the work for me, and you find out later on that that's not really the way things work. While yes, Anime Studio and programs like it fill in a lot of the gaps for you, so it's easier to produce something as a one-person operation, no amount of automation, no amount of pre-programmed features are going to replace the work that you put in yourself. And that's not an admonishment of anybody, by the way. That's really just how it works. There's a lot of tedium to it before you really get to the fun stuff. If you really want to see a little bit more of where I kind of got started with Anime Studio, I'm going to post a link to a playlist that kind of got buried in the channel called Learning by Doing, and that is where I have a bunch of little short, basically uninteresting test animations. There are no jokes in there, there's nothing that interesting in it. It's literally just a series of 5 to 10 second movies where I'm figuring out how to work the Anime Studio program. So my word of encouragement to anybody out there is, don't be afraid of the work ahead of you. It may seem really daunting at first, but just chip away at it at whatever pace you're comfortable with. That's one of the great things about the age we're living in. You don't necessarily have a deadline. You don't necessarily have to meet somebody else's standards of speed to make something really cool and share it with everybody. When I say I went through every single page of the manual, I didn't go through it all at once, or even in a week, or even 2 weeks. It was probably over the course of a few months, and it was a while before I had produced anything that I felt was okay to make public. Alright, on to progress on the holiday cartoon. I'm about halfway done with the animation portion of the Welcome to Boulder Dash episode. I'll be adding a few effects to it at the end. As you probably figured out already, I'm drawing a cartoon turkey to commemorate this year's Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving primarily because I get to spend it with my family. While I do work retail and I will be working on Black Friday, I'm fortunate enough to work for a company that doesn't make me work on Thanksgiving. And if you are working on Black Friday, or especially if you're working on Thanksgiving, I am so sorry. I know exactly how you feel. It's awful. I really hate this trend of retailers being open on Thanksgiving now. I do realize that holidays change over time, but I hate to see what is ostensibly a family holiday transforming into a shopping holiday. As much as I'd like to blame retailers for this, and I do to a large extent, it really is the fact that people are actually showing up for these Thanksgiving sales and trampling each other. It seems like annually at least a couple people die because they're trampled by shopping crowds. And yeah, I do realize that there are bigger things that kill more people every single day than Black Friday, but why should we add to that death toll? I mean, how many big screen TVs is a human life worth? I'm sorry to go into heavy territory here, but I really do feel kind of strongly about this. By the way, doorbusters are almost always scams. There's usually 2 or 3 of that product in stock, and you're probably not going to get it. It's just not worth it. Anyway, if you are lucky enough to be able to spend Thanksgiving weekend with your family, please do so. so I hope you enjoy yourselves. As usual, feel free to ask me any questions in the comment section. I'll be sure to try my best to address them in the next video. I hope you have a wonderful holiday, and I will see you all next week.